Today on Woodturning, we're going to work with a beautiful burl, which has a few challenges.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Robust, built to turn wood, enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best-in-class carbide wood turning tools. You ever fall in love with something on the web and you buy it and it's not exactly what you thought it'd be? Well, this beautiful piece of red Mallee Burl was described as 4 inches thick. I missed the part that said, and then goes to 1 inch thin. So it's kind of been sitting around here for quite a while and I've been trying to figure out what to make with it. And Brian and I put our heads together. We're going to try to make something different. Now, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, Robust Lathes and Easy Wood Tools, because without their support, we wouldn't be here and that'd be no fun. And I am an authorized Robust dealer, so if you're looking for a great lathe, give me a call or drop me a line and I'll get back with you pretty quickly. Now, let's just slap this thing on the lathe. Not gonna work too good, huh? I mean, look at this. Where are we gonna attach this? So we're thinking this is the thicker part. We could possibly use a worm screw in here. But if I put this just like this up here, look, we're hitting here. So we need to figure out how far up and down to move this to make our flat spot. So I'm going to take it on this end because this is where we're going to have to make our flat spot for the worm screw. Let me, permanent marker on your face isn't a good thing. So I'm going to think that's going to miss there. So that's our little center. That's where we want to go over to the drill press and we're going to work on fixing this so it goes on to this. So we've got our flat spot and our hole drilled, and I have my Easy Wood chuck set up with the worm screw right here. One little issue. You can see the lip right here. When I put this down here, these jaws are shorter than that lip, so that's going to hit the part of the jaw right there. So we've got to lower this. Now I could put it back on the drill, but that would be kind of a mess and kind of a harder drill to make. Let me get a little protected up here. So we're going to use a sanding disc to level that out. And I'm going to put on, well, that's a good glove. I'm going to put on some protective gloves because those little points on this thing are sharp and they really do hurt. So we're going to turn this on nice and slow. And we're just going to spend a little time sanding this down lower. Yeah, it should be easy. It might take a while. Okay, nice and flat. We're going to put this in the worm screw and I'm going to dry screw this on by hand. This is really hard dry wood here. It's going to take a little bit, but that is going in well. And these jaws are going to hit the flat part that I did with the, I'll do it this way, with the Forstner bit earlier. Oh, yeah, good, and it swings too without hitting anything. I should have checked that, shouldn't I? So now we'll just screw this thing on. And once it's on, we're gonna start working on the bottom here. So, we're mounted on here, and that gives you a little pucker factor right there. So this is a little scary. This surface is undulating. I want to make it as flat as possible, but I don't really want to cut out here because if I cut here, I'm going to thin it out here and I'm going to lose wood that I want to turn on this side. So we're just going to kind of clean it up a little bit to where we can sand it. But what I want to do is work my way to a flat spot to where we can make a recess. So, bring down the mask. We're going to turn this on at the slowest speed possible. That's what I like about my Robust is you can start at like 3 RPM or something. I'm going to pick it up. You're going to see the lathe shake. Even though this is like a 700-pound lathe, that momentum can shake a lot of stuff. So we're shaking right there. I'm going to go past it a little bit, bring it back. There we go. That's the best I can do. So I'm going to take my bowl gouge. Whew, I can feel the air off that, which has a very fine tip on it. And I'm going to come in here and try to bevel, hit the heel. hit the heel. I'm going to rotate my body just a little bit till I see chips coming off. There we go. And I'm just going to let the tool feed. I'm not going to rush it. So this will take a little bit, but I'm going to try to flatten this part as much as I can, so then we can establish a nice recess for the chuck. So I'm working on the recess for the jaws of the chuck. I'm just taking really light cuts here. And I set the diameter here of what I want my recess to be right here. But I ran into a bit of a problem. It was a lot of fun. Whoever did the chainsaw work on this burl to get it off, it was like Chainsaw 101. So there wasn't a straight line, as a bunch of choppy things. So I don't have a flat surface to where I could cut across it. It undulated too much. So believe me, I've spent the last hour sanding this down to 220 grit. Look over here, Brian, on the floor. You can see all the discs that are DOA now because, one, I didn't have a 2-inch disc in 80 grit, and I only had, a 3-inch, and that's the 2-inch. And I had all my good sanding tools at my shop where I do my metalworking, so that was a long slog. But look how beautiful this burl is. It is incredible. And I want the bottom of this to be finished and really pretty, because when people turn it over, I want them to be surprised and see how beautiful it is. So what I'm going to work on right now is I'm going to continue to make a recess that I can expand the jaws into it to hold it when I flip it around. And hopefully the other side will be a lot easier. So I about got the recess finished here. Just going in to bevel that edge just a little bit going in. And I spent a bit of time working on this to make a bit of a design. I wanted to have a little bit of a bump out come in here. So I've been using an easy wood with a negative rake just to kind of clean this up. It doesn't tear the grain out, which is great. Minimizes sanding, which I'm really into right now. Stop that for a second. Okay, you can see that looks pretty cool. So we have our recess, we got a button here, which is a nice little design element. So I'm going to sand that. We're going to flip it around and start working on the top. So it's reversed. It's on the chuck. And again, the pucker factor is going to be pretty high here. I put a piece of blue tape right here, and that tells me my no-go line. I don't want to get hanging over there with my arm or hands or anything. It'll leach up. It's like having a table saw blade on here. So I want to come in here and just gently tick my way in. I'm going to try to take as much off of this as I can. I have no idea what it's going to look like. Also, I'm double goggled only because these have cheaters in them, and I really want to be able to see what I'm doing. So we're going to start this up really slow again. I'll do it in forward. That would really help. Reverse is not good. Oh, that was forward. Okay, we're good. Okay, I'm not nervous, am I? Let's see how it goes here. Got a little shake there. Whoa. We're gonna walk the lathe. Okay, hold your breath. Tick it out. Make a little pass. There's a piece. Come back, advance just a little bit. There we go. You just want to take a little bit off at a time. And to be on the safe side, I'm going to stop this first cut just to check it, see how it's going. Brian, you can probably see this. So you can see how I'm doing. So it's about that thick right now. So I want to take it down about half that thickness and keep working in. You can see I'm going to have tear out, so I just got to go slow and walk myself across all those peaks. Here we go. Okay. There's nothing fast about this. Does take some nerves though. The cool thing is I'm to the point now, I actually turned a light on so I can see my shadow line now. So I can see where I've got these little ridges where I can start working on that ridge. The other thing I've done is you notice I have tape on the tool rest. Well, that warns me where the next high spot is. And so I know to stop short of that or I'm going to run into trouble. But turn the tool the correct way, it'll cut better. There we go. So you can see I'm just whacking away at it. Whew. Let's take a look at how it's going so far. Let's bring this up. Pretty cool, huh? That is wild. So I'm working this section to this section right now. Then I'll work further in on that. As I go though, I'm taking my negative rake scraper and cleaning up the surface in here a little bit, so when I sand it'll be a lot easier on me than it was on the backside where that person did not know how to work a chainsaw. Anyway, back at it. So I'm using my negative rake scraper here to just clean up the shape, and takes whispers of having that little angle on there. And the cool thing about this angle is I haven't sharpened it once. I've been using this for about 15 minutes and it still cuts. There's an engineering reason for that. Something, I'm not sure why it works, but it works. So take a look at this. Our melted platter, I think that's what we're going to call it now, is taking shape. Exposed all this neat wood. I didn't want to go any deeper because I was going to lose this neat little effect here, and we're saving a lot of these edges over here. So now, just like the bottom side, is going to involve a little bit of sanding, and then we'll be ready to put a finish on this thing. Boy, now after 2-3 hours of sanding, it feels like it's time for the fun part. Whoosh. Oh, this is looking good. Oh, it's such pretty stuff. Might have used a little too much oil there. We'll move around with this. I'm on a silicone mat. It's a cooking mat, so that helps me keep my mess contained a bit. That is so cool looking. I really think it worked out good. I'm just gonna put some of that back in there. Oh, you can never have too much Danish oil when you're making a project. Look at the burl popping out. I need a brush here because I've got to kind of get into here on all these sections here and get them on there. I'm not trying to rush this. This is actually, I went with Danish oil because if I went with polyurethane, I probably couldn't get it to where I wanted it in time for you to see the finished product. So by doing Danish oil, I can put this on and move it around, do stuff, and just add additional layers as I go. And if I put on too much, it's okay. It just rolls off, and I wipe it off, and I'm good. So let's get over here. Look at all that. Yeah, see, come around this edge. Yeah. So I want to show you something because I worked really, really hard to keep the bottom flat, or make the bottom flat, because I wanted to show off the wood under there too, because look at that. Okay, now we got a lot of excess. I'll pull off. But check this out. Isn't that gorgeous? That is a really fun project for a piece of burl that I never thought I could do anything with, because look how thin that thing got. My goodness. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to dry this off, make it pretty. That is how you make a melted Burl Platter. So until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools.